What's going on, everybody? It's Martin from Marty Madness, and I'm here making a quick video because I'm up late at night. It's about 1:29, 1:30 in the morning, and usually that time of night your brain is running off thinking about all kinds of crazy things. And me being a football junkie, I'm thinking about the draft because it's approaching us. April 26th and 28th is the draft. It's creeping up on us right now. What's today? I think it's the 5th. Yeah, today's the 5th. So what, just 21 days away till it starts? Very close. And I'm sitting in bed and I'm thinking, man, who are the Cowboys going to pick at number 19? Who do they have to pick at number 19? And right now, mostly it's defense with a few outliers talking about offense because of all the Dez situation going on. Is he going to get cut? Is he going to get traded? Salary? Are they going to cut down his salary because he's set to make $12.5 million base, $16.5 overall for the year? And that's a lot to count for when you didn't produce a whole lot the past 3 years, especially this last year when you played all 16 games and you didn't put up 1,000 yards like you usually do. So everybody's going speculating, what are they going to do with Dez? So when you have those kinds of questions, when you go into next year's draft, some analysts and of course some fans are going to be pegging a receiver at your number one pick. Of course, I think the biggest guy right now is Calvin Ridley. He's kind of an older player, actually, though. He is 26 years old. Usually the guys coming out of the draft are between ages 21 and 23. So to be 26 coming out of the draft, I think the drop-off for receivers is age 30. So he's pretty close to 30. He's not going to have a whole lot of time in the league. So with that, I'm thinking more of younger guys. A lot of people are thinking in the second round of the draft, not really the first. Guys like James Washington, what's his name, Antoine or Antonio Callaway, something like that. Sorry if I messed up his name. So everybody wants a receiver at either pick 1 or pick 2. I think most likely we're going to get a receiver at pick 3. Second day, third day pick will be at receiver. But if we do pick a receiver at number 1, at number 19, if we do pick a receiver, the guy that I've been thinking about, the guy that I have been sitting in bed for about an hour or so, pretty much daydreaming. Just seriously, I've been daydreaming about this guy, thinking about his stats, thinking about the game that I saw him play, which is in the Senior Bowl. DJ Chark. Hope you know who that is. DJ Chark. He is from LSU, and the guy that I'm going to be comparing him to is Odell Beckham Jr. because he also came from LSU. And once I read you some of their stats, when it comes to their characteristics as a player, you're going to see why I compare the two so much, and why in my sleep I am like banging on the table for this guy, for the Cowboys to draft at number 1 and number 2. I don't think he's going to be there. When we pick at number 2, we pick at number 50 in the second round. So I'd rather us trade back to like the 32nd or try to get, maybe a very early second round pick, because I don't think he's going to be there at number 50. I think there's a lot of people. I think he's a lot better than number 50, the best player in the draft. I really do. I think he's number 2, number 3 best receiver in this draft. And when you're that kind of guy, you tend not to last that long. Receivers are coveted in this day and age. In a pass happy league, receivers are very much coveted. So I don't think you'll be there when we pick. So I'd rather us trade back to get a DJ Chark. I think you'd have to have at least pick 40. So I would like us to trade back from between, I'd say, 25 and 40, somewhere around there, if we can get there, because I don't think he's worth the number 19 pick. Sometimes you have to take a risk with these players. It's always a risk when you're picking a player at any level of the draft. At any level, it's always more like a 50-50 chance when you're picking first round. It's never a for sure thing. Even in top 5, we've seen some busts. It's never a for sure thing. So you got to take a chance on some players. And if I'm the Cowboys, I'm considering taking a chance on DJ Chark at number 1, at number 19. So I'm going to give you guys some stats. Hopefully you understand why and see my reasoning for picking him and taking a risk on him at number 19. So not only are they from the same team, the LSU Tigers, they're very similar players, as I've said before. They're very similar players. DJ Chark is a little bit faster. He's a little bit heavier. He's actually quite a bit taller. He's 4 inches. He's got 4 inches on him. If you didn't know, Odell Beckham is 5'11". DJ Chark is actually 6'3". I don't know OBJ's weight. I should have gotten it. Sorry, I should have gotten his weight. I don't know how heavy it is. I know he's under 200, while DJ Chark is actually 199. So he's 6'3", 199. If you don't know Dez, one of the more stronger receivers in the NFL, he's 6'2", 220, 222. So that gives you an idea of how big DJ Chark is. He's very tall. He's not lanky though. He's got some meat on him at 199, about 200 pounds. And once you come into the NFL, most players put on at least 5 to 10 more pounds. So I think you'll be seeing this guy at a 6'3", 210, 215 type of weight. Pretty good. I think Bryce Butler's around that size. Terrence Williams, if you're not, I'm pretty sure you're not a fan of either of those guys, but they're around that size, and they can block. That's the most important thing. Terrence Williams, he's used in the running game. OBJ, coming out of the draft, was not a very good blocker. I still don't think he's a really good blocker. I haven't seen him. I don't watch him often. Of course, I don't watch the Giants very often. They're the Giants. I'm a Cowboys fan. So I don't know if he's a great blocker. But seeing DJ Chark here, he's 6'3", 199, 200 pounds. I think he can block. It's not always about size. I know it's about technique as well. But of course, the Cowboys are a running team, and they teach the receivers to block. They teach all their receivers to block. So this guy is going to be a blocking receiver. And being his size and weight, he's going to be a good blocker. So before I go into their scouting reports and their combine stats, and just kind of compare the two, I'm going to read you some of DJ Chark's highlights from the Senior Bowl. In his Senior Bowl, 2018 Senior Bowl, his highlights was he had 5 catches, 160 yards in 5 catches, 160 yards. One came on a 75-yard touchdown catch. Did I mention James Washington? He was playing with too, who was actually consideration for first-round pick. Just something to think about. So in his time at LSU, he was considered a big play threat. He was always a big play threat if he's on the field. You got to watch out for that number 7. DJ Chark as a big play threat. 17.9 yards a catch as a junior. Now, right off the bat, 17.9 yards a catch as a junior. That's a pretty big number. That's a really good number for a wide receiver. That is a big play threat, my friends. That is a big play threat. And if you're the Cowboys and your thing is running the ball and pounding the rock, and like we saw this year when we don't have receivers that are, really big, we don't have a lot of big play threats at receiver. We don't have a big play threat at receiver. Dez was our only big play threat as a receiver, and he made like 2, maybe 3 big plays all year. That's not completely his fault. I'm just saying, we didn't have a lot of big play threats. So for a team that likes to run the ball, we need a big play threat, a receiver, for teams to respect our passing game. So we don't have 8, 9, 10 guys in the tackle box when we're trying to run the ball and pound the rock. We're getting stuffed at the line because nobody wants to respect our. You need a guy who's going to stretch the field and who's going to say, okay, maybe we should back up a bit because if we don't, we're going to get burned. And when you have a defense that needs to back up a bit because a guy's going to burn you, like a DJ Chark, like a Odell, like a Julio, like an AB, like all those kinds of guys, when you have those big play threats at wide receiver, you tend to run the ball better because you have DBs, you have, instead of, 8, 9 guys in the box, you have the regular only 7, maybe 5 guys in the box because, of course, you might have 3 wide receivers out there. When you have 3 wide receivers, that means you're going to have 4 down linemen and 2 linebackers. That's pretty even playing field, for Zeke. So Zeke's an elite running back, and when you have him playing one-on-one, when he only has to go up against one guy and make one man miss to break a big play, he's going to be breaking a lot of big plays like we saw in 2016. Our passing game, it was not elite, but it was in a very efficient passing game. It was the kind of passing game where it was, okay, maybe we can't put 7, 8 guys in the box. We got to keep a few back there because if not, that could burn us out of the pocket, in the pocket. Last year, he couldn't do that as much as well, so we saw the effects. The running game wasn't where it should be, and the receivers were suffocated. So just like Zeke did with us in 2016, changing our offense, DJ Chark could come in and change the offense as well in his own aspects, like I mentioned. Being a touchdown machine, being a guy who can, break a playoff, who can break a 50, 60-yarder, and the DBs are gonna have to, play off man, be like, well, we gotta back up a little bit because if not, this guy's gonna run right by us. And his speed to run right by him, I'm gonna show you that right now. So man, all this talk of this guy being a big play threat, what does he do? What does he run? What makes him such a big play threat? Well, for starters, he runs a 4.34. That's good for number one in all the draft when it comes to wide receivers. Yeah, he's the fastest of all of them. 4.34 speed, and he uses all of his 4.34 speed when he's out in the field. Most corners run 4.4. Most corners run high 4.5s. Like 4.9, 4.5. Excuse me, but I think Richard Sherman ran a 4.6, 4.59 coming out of college. I know he's a great corner, but when a guy's faster than you, he's 6'3", 199. What's his strength look like? He did 16 reps on the bench press at 225 pounds. 16 reps at 225. When an offensive tackle like Orlando Brown does 14 reps, or when a running back does like 20 bench reps at 225, 16 reps is a really good number. For a wide receiver, that's a pretty decent number. That's like you could almost be a running back if you wanted to. You could be a Ty Montgomery. If you don't know who Ty Montgomery is, he was a receiver that was playing for the Packers, switched to halfback because not only was he big and fast, but he had some good strength to him. So he's got that going for him too. He's not all just speed and height. He's strength too, guys. He's strength too. Maybe not as strong as Dez, but he's a better athlete than Dez, as we can see. Dez, coming out of college, only ran like a 4.5. So when you have about 80% of Dez's strength combined with a whole like 2.2 seconds faster, that's a deadly combo. Speed and size, that's a deadly combo right there. Well, and what about his leaping ability? As we all know, Dez has a great leaping ability. He's got that 50-50 ball type of guy. He climbs the ladder. When he's going for that catch, he's climbing the ladder. He's getting up there. Well, guess what? DJ Chark can do that too. The man had a 40-inch vert and a 10-foot 9-inch broad jump. It's pretty good, guys. 40-inch vert is pretty good. How good is it? Odell had a 38.5-inch vert. So it's pretty good. So you're probably wondering, as I'm feeding you these numbers, what are Odell's numbers? How does Odell, a transcendent talent, compared to DJ Chark, who coming out of the draft is a similar player, like I've said, although they're not considered given a score, they're not at the same level. Odell was a first-round pick. He was pick number 13. He was without a doubt a first-round pick. DJ Chark is not without a doubt a first-round pick. Like I've said, he is more of like a second-rounder, late first-rounder. And as I've also said earlier, 19 is still a little high for him. However, sometimes you just gotta go get a guy. You want a guy, you gotta go get him. There's surprises in the draft every year. You cannot reasonably predict the draft every year, and we try to all the time. YouTubers try to, NFL analysts try to, but it's impossible. You cannot do that. Every year we see teams reach up and grab a guy, and you're like, well, why'd they reach up and grab that guy? And then the next year, holy crap, no wonder they reached up and grabbed that guy. He's brilliant. This can be one of those scenarios. And as for the side-by-side stats, well, DJ Chark versus OBJ, here's their stats. DJ Chark with a 4.34, OBJ with a 4.43. We all know how fast OBJ runs. Now look at his flip-flop numbers. 3.4, 4.3. DJ Chark is faster. Bench press reps. Odell only did 7 reps. Get out of here, bro. DJ Chark did twice that with 16. And the rest vertical, as I've said before, Chark had a 40-inch vert and OBJ had a 38.5. What about their broad jump? 10.9 for DJ, and OBJ had a 10.2. So as we can see, DJ Chark, is the better athlete. So what about scouting reports? Well, let me read you a summarized scouting report that I wrote up real quick for DJ Chark. Deep threat, not a clean route runner. Big play threat always. Inconsistent. He's inconsistent with his catching. Flashes ridiculous talent. His quarterback was inconsistent with his ball placement, so there was that. So, maybe his numbers would have been even a little bit better if his quarterback was a little bit better. And of course, going into the NFL, you're going to have a better quarterback and can separate at any level of the field. So short, medium, intermediate, deep routes, whatever, you name it, he's going to separate at that level of the field. Now, OBJ's combine report, what was he like coming out of college? No top end vertical speed, inconsistent to catch in traffic, and contested balls, which is 50-50 balls, the kind of catches that Des Bryant makes a lot. Has some concentration drops, much like our friend DJ, and can be out muscled, as we've said as I've listed, he only had 7 bench press reps at the combine, while DJ had 16. So DJ is not going to get out muscled very often. And of course, just like I'm sure OBJ has, you're going to put on muscle when you come into the NFL. Maybe not in your first year, but in your second and third year, you're going to put on muscle. The training staff those are professional training staffs. They're not college training staffs. They're going to go in there. They're going to have a plan for each and every player to put on more weight than they did the last. I mentioned he played at the Senior Bowl, the 2018 Senior Bowl. Let me list a little bit of the competition that he played against while he was at the Senior Bowl. The corners he played against was Duke Dawson of Florida Gators, Jamarcus King from South Carolina, and look at that, Armani Watts from Texas A&M, who is a highly touted safety. Both of those corners, as I mentioned, Duke and Jamarcus, were starters as seniors, and they did have multiple interceptions. Excuse me. Mr. Dawson actually had 4. He was ranked 4th in the SEC with 1.08 passes defensed per game. So he actually had 12 passes defensed. So he played against some competition. Now, they're not exactly first-round picks, but neither is every corner in the that comes into the NFL. Not all of them are first-round picks. Not all starters out there were highly touted guys. We could be looking at NFL talent. We're most likely looking at NFL talent here. In Duke Dawson, Jamarcus King, and especially Armani Watts. He's going to get drafted either in the 2nd or 3rd round. Anyway, guys, that's all I had to get off my chest. I could not sit in bed just thinking about this without making a video about it. I appreciate you watching the video, guys, sticking with me through this, and hopefully you laughed a little bit or something. I was trying to be funny. And you enjoyed the stats, you enjoyed the comparisons, and you agree with me in that the Cowboys should take a chance on this guy and really, push for him in the draft. Like I said, 19 is a little high, but you gotta take chances. You can't stay at 50 if you want him. Their second pick is at pick 50. He is not going to be there, guys. He is not going to be there. You have to move forward. So hopefully, you go out there, get on Twitter, get on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you do, tell the Cowboys, guys, you got to go get this guy. You got to trade up or trade down into the 2nd round and get this guy, because like I've said, this man, he might not be as highly touted as OBJ was coming out of the draft, but as we've gone through, he is definitely worth the chance. He is a better athlete. Not saying he's going to be the same player, but you never know. Look at Marcus Peters and look at Jalen Ramsey. A lot of people, I think, a general consensus would say you're not always going to get great players in back-to-back drafts. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get a Julio Jones in one draft, and then the next draft you're going to get you're going to get OBJ. Which actually is kind of counterintuitive, because Julio came out in 2011, OBJ came out in 2014. So Marcus Peters, he's a great cornerback, really, really great cornerback, all-pro cornerback, came out in the 2015 draft. Meanwhile, 2016 first-round pick, the very next draft, Jalen Ramsey made first-team All-Pro this year. First-team All-Pro this year, and then the guy before him that was drafted before him in 2015 also made first-team All-Pro. So you can get great transcendent players in back-to-back drafts, which is why I'm pushing so hard for DJ Chark and OBJ. And they're not even exactly back-to-back, guys. They're not even exactly back-to-back. OBJ 2014, Chark is going to be in this 2018 draft. Just saying, man. If I'm the Cowboys, if you're them, I think you should be really looking at this guy as a first round pick. I know it may not scream one, but Tom Brady, 6th round pick, greatest quarterback ever now. Anyway, as I was saying, appreciate you watching the video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and hit that little bell icon down at the corner, right, down there, somewhere on there. Just hit it, and it'll notify you every time I upload a new video. Comment down below what you think. Please comment down below if you agree with me, and if you don't, explain your reasoning. And as always, thanks for watching.